So we're a couple days away from the album release. When did the work start on the album?
Oh, it started 2020, 21 in that vicinity. Of course, I've been saying this album is a tribute, totally dedicated to my late wife, and so that's why it's called "Life I Got to My Most Beloved." It took about 4 years to really complete, and it was a very difficult album for me to finish, not because of the tunes being difficult or anything like that. It just was an emotional time, seeing Trisha go through such a difficult time in her last years.
Did you feel anything as you're writing these songs, as you're putting these songs in? Of course, everything is happening. Does the theme kind of lock in at a certain point? Did you realize, like, okay, this is what this project is going to be like? How did that all evolve over these past 4 years?
Well, it seems just so evident, that everything narrowed to caregiving, for Trisha, and to helping her through this, and in sickness and in health. And so we were together for almost 50 years, and I didn't need any of those words to really, respond, because I loved her and still love her very much. And we were so close that we were one. And it flowed naturally that this would be her record. And even the songs are a little off topic. A couple were songs that she enjoyed and that she insisted that I put on the record. But most of the songs are directly about her, like Stormy River and The Hero You See in Me and The Life I Got. And there's a couple others, too, that are directly about our journey together through her sickness, and the incredible courage and bravery, she showed through it, and knowing that this was a fatal disease. And it really hurts, and it still does. And it's taken me a long while to get over this. I'm not over it, but at least to function again. It's an interesting thing, people sometimes go through deep depressions when they lose their pets. Sometimes, just when your refrigerator breaks, you go through an emotion for 2 days, so let alone someone you've been with, since I was 21, 22 years old. And so you go through all kinds of thought processes, and what helped me throughout it all was to have a purpose, and the purpose was to create the life I got.
How many of the songs ultimately, before she passed, was she able to hear? Did she hear at least part of it? I mean, how did that work?
That's a very good question. She didn't hear all of it. She heard maybe 50%, 60% of it. But she did hear the songs in the making. And that's where she advised me. She wanted me to put "It's All Good, Mama." She wanted me to put a couple of the others, like "Nowhere to Go But Up," because I was really kind of frustrated with "Nowhere to Go But Up." I'd written it in 22, 23, and I didn't like the way the production was turning out. And she said, "Don't give up on it. It's a good song. Just try it again. Try it again." And I think it took 3 or 4 different approaches in the studio to bring that song out, and finally, and on the last version that is now the single, I said, "That's it." And so if it wasn't for Trisha, it would have never showed up on the record.
Wow. Who plays the harmonica on that?
I did.
Nice, very good. I'm always curious about harmonica solos. There's some legendary ones in there. That's really cool. The Stormy River video. How, working with your collaborators, how did you come up with an idea, a concept to properly? I mean, it's a simple video, but it's emotional, it's evocative. What was the best way to drive home the point of the song?
Well, Stormy River is just one of those very interesting songs for me, because it's very broad, and yet when you contextualize it, it's got a sharp pinpoint to it. But the words are broad, almost like "Bridge Over Troubled Water." You can be in any situation where you need a little bit of emotional support, and the song will work because it's non-specific, yet it is exactly how emotions hit you. And that's what I try to adhere to in Stormy River. It's written a little bit in the 50s style of like Unchained Melody or things like that. As far as the video is concerned, for both Stormy River and Nowhere to Go But Up, they were both shot in Belgrade, Serbia, at a place called Pink Media, and that's why you see the sort of gargantuan screen behind me in Stormy River, because the green screen at the studios were 60 feet high by 100 feet wide, and so the projections behind me, are just kind of magnificent. And you're right, it does make it quite evocative. And the same thing with Nowhere to Go But Up. We shot most of it in the streets, the downtown streets of Belgrade, some of the alleyways and whatnot, and some of it was shot in front of the giant green screen where my brother who directed it put all kinds of images, behind me.
If there is one song on the album, when people hear it, and someone who might be listening to this after the album gets released, but is there one song you'd most want people to note or pay attention to when they hear it?
Oh, geez, no, I can't really say that. I mean, because they all have they don't really cover the same territory. The Hero You See in Me, is really a song about I don't think I've ever lived up to the person you see in me. And when Trisha got sick, she never wanted to put me out. So I would always ask her, allow me to be the person that you see in me. Let me help you. And that's what that song is about. And of course, Stormy River is more about what it feels like to see someone slipping from your fingers. And Nowhere to Go But Up is really about, when you're faced with that situation, what are you going to do? Complain about this, whine about that? When the person, with everything you have, is slipping through your fingers. So what are you going to do? You're going to appreciate it. You're going to go to that person and give her your best. And so every song has got its specific place and theme. And as far as like a song like It's All Good Mama was about me entering, a strange bar, when I was 17 in New York City, and Trisha always loved that story, so she insisted I put that story, in the record. And there's a tune called Come to Jesus Moment, and I really like it because it really bridges Americana-style writing with jazziness and a little bit of soul, but it's about my Peruvian adventure, when I stayed there in South America for over a month, spent a couple of weeks up in the Peruvian mountains and had a breakthrough, a sort of transpersonal or transcendental experience. And Trisha was very instrumental because she helped me process it, throughout the years, because it was so life-altering. So what I'm trying to say is each song is really specific about this journey.
Well, this is really cool, and got a little bit of an album preview, so I know how to follow along when it comes out on February 7th, and anyone listening should give it a listen as well. Thank you for doing this project. Gino Vannelli, all the best with the new album and the promotion of that, and all the best going down the road. All the best for you.
Thank you, Luke.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.